Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Easy enough to say that narcissists are habitual, pathological, chronic liars. I mean, it's nothing more than a statement, a fact about this defective character type. But it's so much bigger than that, and I want to talk about the narcissist lies today. The lie that the narcissist was preparing to tell you began long before they actually got in your inner circle. From the moment they saw you and identified you as a good potential target, the lie was already unraveling in their minds. From the second a narcissist spots a potential target, they are immediately starting to gather information about them, and they need as much early information as they can get, because it is this information that is going to aid them in the lie, in the development of the fake self, and in creating the illusion that they are potentially your soulmate, your best friend, the dearest person to you. Because they are going to create a fake self, a fake person that is a mirrored image of their target. There was no mistaking the fact that Trevor initially appeared to be exactly like me. He liked the same type of music, he loved gardening, he was a fan of the arts, and himself a very creative person. Trevor had identified me as a potential target. He had summed me up. He had gathered the information he needed to create the fake self, a mirrored image of me to present to me. Now, I think it's safe to say, all ego aside, that, well, why wouldn't you fall in love with someone that was just like you? Life is just a series of ups and downs and challenges. The prospect of meeting someone who is just like you seems to eliminate a lot of problems down the road. What could be better than meeting your soulmate, your twin flame, someone who was just like you? And that is what this mirrored false self really is. It is the replication of you presented to you for you to fall in love with. Lying is so much more than storytelling to a narcissist. It is the foundation that allows them to capture supply. It is that foundation of keeping the mask on. It is truly, well, I could say their identity, but they don't have an identity. Their identity is constantly changing and morphing to fit the target. So they are constantly developing, well, a new mask, a new personality, a new identity. And that identity will change very, very quickly. If a narcissist suspects they're going to be dumped, they will immediately go find new supply and assume the identity of this new supply, even though they're still with the old supply, and the old supply has no idea they're about to be replaced. It is this identity theft, this soul vampirism, this character vampirization that really makes the narcissist class act liars. It's all of what they are. Without the lie, there would be no fake self, and since they don't have a real self and the fake self is all they've got, they would literally cease to exist without the lie. Admittedly, I really didn't understand it at the time, but I had noticed that Trevor's character, his personality, would shift during times we are at odds with each other or just prior to me being dumped. There was definitely a personality shift in him. And I identify that now as, well, he was cheating. He was looking for new supply. He was making sure there was going to be someone there to immediately replace me day one. And what I was actually seeing was him developing this new target's identity. I think it's safe to say that everybody tells a lie from time to time, and quite often somebody tells a lie to, well, very simply just protect their privacy. And fair enough, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about their very existence hinging on the lie. Without the ability to lie and, well, basically steal people's identity and assume it for their own, they would not exist. Their very existence, their survival, depends on the lie. Lying has a whole different meaning to a narcissist. Every aspect of narcissism really does depend on and hinge on deception. Deception is at the core of what they are. And of course, deception flourishes when lies are flowing freely. Now, with that said, with every aspect of narcissism, there is a contradiction, and there's a contradiction here as well. The lying for the narcissist is their source of life. It enables them to exist. But on the other hand, it's the lying that ultimately looks like a narcissist falling on a sword. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Being lied to has a profound effect on a human being. It has a profound effect on their mind, and in fact has been proven over and over again to cause significant damage, very much like a concussion. Being lied to has an extremely profound effect on the person being lied to, but lying also has an extremely detrimental effect on the liar. Lying is exhausting. I mean, just trying to keep your story straight, remember who you said what to, in itself is exhausting, both mentally, emotionally, and physically. It causes in the liar fatigue, an overwhelming fatigue and exhaustion. Being lied to causes a brain injury for the victim because the human brain is simply not designed to decipher psychobabble. It is intended to decipher facts, logic, reasonable scenarios. The human brain just is not built for mindfuckery. When a narcissist is living in an altered reality, a delusion-based fantasy, a magical state of being, and everything coming out of their mouth is a lie, well, it causes severe brain injury for them too. Liars sustain a brain injury as much as the person being lied to does. For anyone that would agree, a narcissist, especially in full swing, looks absolutely, utterly mad. I mean, completely insane. And I think it's safe to assume they are insane. When you start adding up the amount of lies they tell over their lifetime, and the fact that lying causes a brain injury, it's a wonder their brains aren't pouring out their ears. That lying is physically exhausting, but it's also emotionally draining. It takes a tremendous toll on their limited emotional resources, and this is why we'll often see a narcissist completely flailing out of control, because they appear to be absent an emotional regulator. I mean, they're just flailing all over the place, and it is this emotional exhaustion, this emotional fatigue that's causing them to, well, appear to have no emotional regulator. They're emotionally freaking out, coming unglued, because lies require maintenance, and a lot of maintenance. You got to remember what you said, what stage of the lie you're in, what your backup plan's going to be. You know, you've got to be always one step ahead of the lie to be ready with the next lie. And it's not just what the lie was, but who you told it to. They lie to everybody, and this takes a tremendous emotional toll on them. Habitual lying also causes sleep deprivation. A narcissist will often be so caught up and so worried that they'll be exposed that they don't sleep well. So when you consider sleep deprivation, physical exhaustion, and emotional exhaustion, it's no wonder that these aspects of lying will also lead to, well, a real impairment in physical health. Narcissists often suffer from physical conditions, symptoms. Habitual lying creates an opportunity for the liar to, well, avoid the truth, or avoid harsh reality, the facts that the rest of us are constantly forced to deal with. They get to avoid all these uncomfortable truths, facts, realities that the rest of us have to face straight on. Does a narcissist know they're lying? Absolutely. They have to lie. They love to lie. It is what allows them to exist. Much as you can take pride in knowing that you have fed your family, a narcissist can take pride in the lie because it is the food that fuels them. Habitual lying and the maintenance required to keep something like that going, I mean, to keep juggling all those balls, most definitely has negative effects on the narcissist. But one of the biggest tolls it has on them is, well, it causes depression, anxiety, stress, frustration. I mean, they're just creating this extremely edgy, uncomfortable feeling where they can never just settle in. They can't settle in anywhere, and they've always got this edgy, uncomfortable feeling. Between the fatigue and the brain injury and all the other things that go along with being a habitual chronic liar, narcissists will often become so uncomfortable, so afraid of exposure that they're driven into isolation and can be very antisocial. Now, Trevor was a pretty off-the-grid kind of guy. He really didn't like to go out in public much. We never went out in the evenings, and he was definitely a stay-at-home guy. It looked to me at the time like Trevor was trying to isolate me, cut me off from everything and everyone that was important to me. But I see now in retrospect that he was also insulating himself from exposure. Habitual lying and deception is absolutely horrible for everyone involved. Now, as bad as it is for a victim can ultimately walk away. A victim can wake up to the reality of the situation and say, I'm done living, in magic reality world. I want to go back to the real world. And a victim can walk away, as I have and as many of you have, but the narcissist never gets to walk away. In fact, they have to continue in this hamster wheel cycle over and over again. You escape, now they have to find a new target, start all over again with the love bombing, idealization, devaluing, dumping and discarding, and off they go again. And that is what their entire life is. That is their only existence. They are slaves to the hamster wheel, slaves to this repetitive behavior. And over again, they go. Talk about revenge. I got away, as many of you have gotten away, and we've gone on to restore our lives and to come to understand this. Where's the narc? Well, the narc is still stuck in the hamster wheel, running the circle over and over again with no way out. You've really got to laugh when you think about it. Here's this thing, this creature, this soulless monster, this identity thief, just trapped, a slave, a servant to this crazy agenda of madness and just, what a festival of ignorance. And they just, will spend their whole lives doing this. So, as frustrating as it is, you've really got to see a little irony there. The narcissist lying is what sustains them, and it is ultimately what destroys them. When victims of narcissistic abuse start to wake up, start to become aware of the grave depths of deception that they have been wallowing in, it can just blow your mind up. It's absolutely unbelievable, but the lies are real. This is the truth of their existence. You really were not involved in a relationship with a real human being, but a mirrored image of yourself. Though I don't 100% understand it, I do see it, and I am willing to accept it for what it is. When I started to wake up to the fact that there was no one there, I was actually in love with, or believed myself to be in love with, a mirrored image of myself. For me personally, it made it kind of easy to cut the soul tie, because I had come to realize there was nothing there. I wasn't losing anything. I wasn't giving up anything. There was nothing there, and I found it pretty easy to let go of nothing. I let go of nothing, and I let go of a whole lot of misery. It is very hard to come to terms with the level of deception. I hear ya. I had to come to terms with it myself. Guys, I hope this helps. If you're struggling with some questions today about how you could have been deceived that way, you were deceived that way because they're experts at this. This is what they do. This is what they are. Guys, I hope you're having a great narc-free day. I'm Kim, and you're watching Kim Wilson TV.